The Broncos.
It's interesting because the biggest talking point is former New York Jet quarterback Zach Wilson going over for 4 days ago, 5 days, something like that. Days are all blurring for me. New father stuff. What do you think here? Obviously, Broncos mad, have watched heaps of tape. What's the team needs? What do you think they do?
Yeah, it'd be quite interesting. I think quarterback makes the most sense, but do you pick QB6 at this point?
Which would be
crazy. Like, I think if the thought was maybe trade down, but the pick is in, so they've stayed put. They trade down and maybe get Nicks because you don't have a second rounder. But I think with quarterback run, maybe they think they got to stay here and pick Nicks. Supposedly they really love Nicks. They did a lot of homework on Nicks, so I could see that. Or they might think maybe maybe they can trade back up later with other things.
What do you think about Nicks?
I think he's a good quarterback. Like, I think all 6 could be first rounders and could get out of them. His processing and short stuff is excellent. He maybe doesn't have the elite arm talent to take the top of, but he's got more than enough. Like, I think you can get a lot out of him. He is a little bit older, and he struggled early in his career, but he improved over time. Outside of that, knowing Sean Payton, he does love a tight end. So Brock Powers is out there, and we're kind of struggling for tight end.
Is Bowers a chance? Do you think they used a pretty high pick with Dulcich a few years ago?
Yeah, but Dulcich has been hurt, so they could potentially look here at tight end. They could also look to replace Judy as well. Do they go wide receiver like a big Brian Thomas? Some talk about Cortland Sutton's contract and do they move him too? So potentially wide receiver. Or, again, still no defensive players.
Yeah.
Could they take the best defensive player?
We're at pick 12 now. So the previous record was 8. So
they could pick corner. Corner's been talked a lot about. Do you pick someone to pair with Sertan on the side? But they just signed Wallace as well. Levi Wallace just came across. So
and then we've got Jaquan McMillan as well there.
Yeah, so they could be okay in that. Or to add pass rush, add a verse or they could add to that good defense and add some more talent in there.
To me, that makes the most sense if they don't go Bo Nix here. Looking at those names, they could really use an edge back, I nearly said edge back rower, an edge rusher, and you're getting your pick of whoever you want, whether that's Verse, whether that's Latu, whether that's
I really
Turner.
liked Verse. No, Newton was also very high.
Yep.
Latu was there as an interesting one, but of course the neck injuries. I really like Wiggins. If you get Wiggins, I'll be pretty happy.
At corner.
Darius Robinson I also really liked. It might be a little bit early for him.
He's like a big defensive end.
Big defensive end.
Yeah. Which with you guys playing 3-4,
yes,
probably
he could be a 3-4 end definitely. Yeah. Maybe needs a little bit more size to be in that Richard Seymour model, but he could definitely get there. I think he's almost very comparable measurements to him, but I think he's actually like a Malik Jackson type. So, which of course came through Denver.
All right, so there's 8 names that we've just thrown out.
Yeah, they could really do anything.
You're a fan. What would you like to see?
I would have liked quarterback, but I'm just not a huge fan of getting the 6th quarterback at this point.
Yeah.
Considering how much defensive talent's on the board, knowing Peyton, he probably wants receiver options. It was like offensive talent, sorry. So, there's potential there. They could do anything, really.
So you answered me like a politician.
The board's open.
Anything would be great.
Wiggins and Verse, maybe my favourites on defence. Latu kind of scares me a bit. I do really like Thomas as a big wide receiver. Bowers kind of makes a lot of sense for what their offense does and how much tight end plays a factor in
today's NFL,
and especially in Peyton's offense as well. So,
and we've seen if you get a good young tight end into a good-ish system, it can have immediate effect.
Yeah. But quarterback's the big need, of course. They've got 3 options there, but none of them are really set in stone. So, do you add a 4th one to that mix?
Goodell's up on the stand. He's about to read out the pick. We're about to see Sean's reaction to Bo Nix, quarterback, Oregon.
Quarterback. So
okay, so we thought at the start of the show we might see 6 quarterbacks go in the first round.
And it's already happened in the
6 quarterbacks go in 12 picks. Incredible. Sean, bring up Bo Nix's numbers there. Starter at Oregon for a number of years. The shortest name, is that confirmed? 5 letters?
I think first name, last name, we confirmed that. That's
because there's Thai law, but he wasn't Thai.
Taiwan law, I think is not.
Anyways, that's tidbits. What have you got for us on Bo Nix? 5 letters and all.
So 6'2", 214, over 10 inches on the hand size. Pretty standard there. Interesting. 5-year starter.
Yeah.
Senior.
Yep.
Played 3 at Auburn. He broke his ankle in 2021, which ended his season. 2023, he set the NCAA completion record for a season at 77.44%, which was held by Mac Jones. Did throw 45 tutters last year.
Incredible.
Oregon record for pass yards and touchdowns. He stole that from Mariota. Was 43 and 18 as a record as a starter and had improvement every year. So you have a question of how much growth is left. So 74 total pass touchdowns at Oregon.
Crazy.
He has good size. He's big build. He looks thicker than JJ did. But he looks a little bit shorter as well. He didn't look like a 6'2" dude out there. His release looks slow but purposeful. He has nice touch on the ball, but I think maybe occasionally he puts too much touch on the ball. But that, of course, led to his high completion percentage. I think he needs probably a touch more velocity. So whether, taking a little bit off the touch and adding a bit more power to his throws, we'll see. So otherwise, nice motion, no real flicker whip in it. Has a very nice spiral. It's very tight. Doesn't have that cannon rocket you'd expect, but his arm's still very good. He throws a very catchable ball. Overall, is a decent athlete, but nothing you'd try to build a pro game around. Sees the field well, goes through his reads. A lot of short stuff, but not limited on his throws. We did throw deep balls to Troy Franklin on the outside a fair bit. He sees it very well. Footwork is nice and clean. Very good base. Stands in the pocket. All shotgun. He's a winner. The deep ball was the question marks, but I think 60 yards he's kind of tapped out. Like he won't throw it over 60 yards, but that's probably more than enough for him. So
sneaky good runner as well. That doesn't have a 40 time there because didn't run it at the combine. He ran a 4.57 coming out of high school. Cool, so sneaky fast there, and had 14 rushing touchdowns in his junior year. So definitely gives you a little bit with the legs there too.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think he's a solid athlete. I don't think you're trying to build a run game around him or anything like that. But I think he'll come slot straight in and compete with Zach Wilson. The only concern is they're exactly the same age, and they are very comparable, kind of. I think Wilson's probably got the stronger arm talent, but these two will have to come in and compete against each other. And see who wins.
You're going to have a good old quarterback battle in preseason.
But if Wilson wins that...
Don't forget, Jarrett Stidham is listed as their starter at the moment as well.
Yeah, but if he wins... If he doesn't win that, then are you throwing that pick away? Is the question?
Yeah.
So, hey, you've thrown all the darts out and hope one of those guys hits.
Hand was forced a little bit. Bo Nix to the Denver Broncos.
Happy. I think that's a solid pick. We needed that.